Okay, I believe we are live, but as usual, I'll make sure to check. Um, okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, we are live. So, yeah, we are going to talk about Satoshi Kon's film Millennium Actress. And earlier, before we started recording NPC, you said that you had also seen. Perfect Blue. So, which of the two do you prefer?
Um, Millennium Actress because it's more wholesome, I guess. I would say. I enjoyed them both, but I guess the substance of Millennium Actress was a bit more interesting to me because it wasn't just about an actor. It brought in a bit of Japanese history and all that, and
Yeah,
really just shows you. Yeah. So I enjoyed Millennium Actress a bit more personally.
yeah, because I guess they're both about two actresses, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Right. So, yeah, even though I guess so, Perfect Blue is more of a thriller showing the dark
Yeah.
side of showbiz. Idols and stuff like that. Whereas this felt Millennium Actress felt more like a celebration of Japanese cinema. Um, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you mentioned that it's historical, but I mean, I don't know. It just felt
A little bit historical.
a little
It's
bit.
just yeah, sort of a veneer, just to give a bit more world building and a bit have something there just besides the story of an old lady, that used to be an actress, just to give a little more context to the plot and world building and all that.
Um,
It's nothing like super in depth, but yeah.
yeah, so I guess it's a bit meta because what we are seeing is basically the sets, the
Hmm.
movie sets of the films that the protagonist, I guess, uh, what was her name, Chiyoko or something, that she
Yes, yes.
participated in.
I hope so. Yeah,
I hope so
that's
too.
what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
Uh,
Uh, yeah. Did you know what it was going to be about before you started watching it?
Honestly, probably. I mean, just looking at the name Millennium Actress, I thought it was going to be about an actress that had grown up through much of the 20th century, the 1900s, and we were hitting, it was made right around the millennium. So up until then, it just the story of an actress who had lived through that, much of that century. That was my impression before I went in.
I see. Um, I guess were you so is it just about her, or what about the other characters? Were you?
Mm.
I think it was mostly about
Yeah.
her, right? I mean, what are you going to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, how much of it do you think it was just so basically to explain the plot? Um, two, I guess, two media people or whatever are going to two journalists, let's say, are going to interview an old actress who used to be popular. I think you kind of get the impression with the interaction between the two journalists. Let us say the cameraman and the interviewer. So the cameraman man is a bit looks a bit younger, I think, and
Hmm.
yeah, he doesn't seem to think that this actress is a big deal.
Hmm.
Yeah. Eh,
Yeah. See, yeah. Go ahead.
So anyway, it doesn't look like we have much to say. So I'm going to go and have a look if our I don't know if I would describe him as our friend, but if Snob has got anything to say about it on his
Okay.
IMDb, yeah.
All
Uh,
right. Yeah. If we want to go through that, that'd be fine.
um,
While you're
yeah.
opening that up, yeah, like characters weren't that big of a deal in this show besides the main actress. Really, there isn't a whole lot of. There's a little bit of development. You sort of learn how their relationships, how they all came to know each other. Um, the actress, the MC, and the documentarian, the man who meets this lady and wants to make a documentary about her life. You learn a bit about that, but really, I think the point of the show is just, yeah, to show the life of that main character, the Millennium actress, Chiyoko, and show how she got started on her journey and where it took her, and it blends her journey with films, with the films that she was in, and relates it to the eras that the films were in. Gives sort of context to it, and also, um, but I don't know if how much I want to spoil it, but starts off showing that she gets a key from a stranger that she hardly knows. She's not really given time to fall in love with him. It's just a chance meeting, and she gets a key from this stranger who goes off, who has to leave and run away and go somewhere far away. And she just, I guess that's her sort of her first love. And she's chasing after this painter, the stranger that she met, that gave her the key through her whole career, and that's sort of portrayed through all the movies. And really, she never finds the stranger, and she gets caught up in the actress life, you know, um, and ends up marrying another man. I believe it's her director. Just really, it's not a very romantic marriage. It's just sort of a, this is what's expected of you sort of deal. But she basically never gives up on the chase of that man, the stranger that she originally met that gave her the key. And toward the end of it, we sort of are given an answer to that, a cathartic answer, I guess, to uh, the whole situation between her and that stranger, chasing after him her whole life. And we get an answer that says pretty bluntly that it wasn't the stranger that she was in love with, the stranger she met only very briefly and was chasing after her whole life. It wasn't the stranger she was in love with. It wasn't the man. She was in love with the chase. She was in love with chasing him, you know. So she was in love with that experience, the idea, of chasing after her prince, her knight in shining armor, her whole life, and that what kept her. That's sort of what drove her and kept her going and kept her ambitious, throughout her whole career as an actress. And I suppose it's sort of a bit of a statement about love, and like romance and career and idols' careers and stuff. But
Did you?
it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't the man. It wasn't a man himself, a specific man in her life that fulfilled her dreams. It was the experience of chasing after that dream that was the most important thing to her, and
Did,
gave her purpose.
did you feel
It
like
was it was interesting.
that was a wholesome message or no? I guess.
A wholesome message. Well, the wholesome aspect of it is a bit different for me, but that's just more, I guess, sort of a statement on the reality of, say, a female actress. That's more of a realistic statement. Yeah, and it's that in particular could be a bit cynical. Yeah, that her dreams were never really fulfilled, even though she was chasing them her whole life and had this successful career as an actress. Anyone looking on from looking at her from the outside, like a normal person would say, "Oh, she had this amazing life," but personally, she was never really fulfilled. But what kept her going was chasing those dreams. So I guess it is sort of wholesome, you know. If you have a dream you're chasing after but never get it, then at least not everyone's gonna have their dreams fulfilled. It's
Mm.
sort of a realistic statement, a familiar statement. Like I can see even normal people enjoying this anime, this movie, this film, because it would probably be fairly relatable. Like I could see, young women liking it, or even older women, and just normal people liking it.
Yeah, I mean,
But
if you're being very very cynical, you can say that like she just ended up being a lonely woman who has gone insane and thinks that she's the characters that she played in in the movies.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's definitely that's the whole style. That's the whole aesthetic of the film. Is it blends her life with her movies, and she sort of tells the story of her life through her movies. Sort of an escape and a dramatic retelling. Of really just a lonely old lady. But yeah. See, that's a part of it.
did you
That's definitely a part of it.
did you at any point doubt whether this man actually existed at some point? I kind of, because I think at least until towards the end I wasn't sure whether like whether this man that she was pursuing, whether he was real at all, or not. um I I mean, but in the end it turned, I think it quite clearly turned out that it was real. It was a real man. But did you kind of,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, what did you think about that, about the man, if you thought about anything, the way it was presented
yeah,
and all that?
yeah. Yeah. You sort of. I don't know. It's not really told. It's not really shown, but yeah, you sort of get the feeling like maybe this man never existed at all, and even if he did, then how could she love him? Because she only met him for a few moments when she was a very young woman, like a teenager, like in school, right?
Yeah,
So, like you're wanting to doubt, or at least I'm wanting to doubt, like the plausibility and the truth to the whole situation. Yeah. And then toward the end, you sort of get the answer when she says that it wasn't him. It wasn't him. She was in love with. She was in love with the chase. And at the beginning, very beginning of the movie, it sort of shows sort of a hint at the whole point. The film is, or well, a major point that shows. It says something along the lines of, there she lived through a period of immense turmoil and war, in her childhood, but she was really only interested in girls' magazines and was always, just wanted to find her prince, you know. She was after that romance, that perfect romance from the start, you know, and she never got it, but she was looking for it, but she never got it.
by the way, I think the old woman, the ghost, which she sees, I think it turns out to be herself, right? If I'm not mistaken.
See, that's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. Because the ghost is this, long-haired, old-looking lady, a long white-haired old lady, who says that she hates Chiyoko, but she also loves her more than she can bear. So that's what I thought too. I thought it was just herself, a reflection of herself saying that she will never, and that ghost says that Choco, the MC, will never get what she wants. She'll never get that man that she's chasing after. That prince, the knight in shining armor. She'll never get him, no matter how hard she tries. It'll always be out of her reach. That happy life, that fulfilled life. That yeah, she'll never get it. But yeah, if you could expand on that, go right ahead, because
Yeah, I think.
that's what I thought too.
Yeah. I think it's kind of becomes clear when she says that the old woman says that she cursed the protagonist with eternal love, quote unquote. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
I also liked how basically there aren't proper characters, but you have um, a bunch of people who just who are probably real as well. Like for example, the policeman who tortured and killed um, the man she's in love with, the stranger. And
Yes,
and basically you get that policeman playing that role in several movies. Then there's a
really.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
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 the man with the scar on his face. Um, who is always I guess chasing the stranger as well in uh, in Chiyoko's
hmm,
imagination.
yeah,
And at the end, he comes to ask for forgiveness, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that man, and then there's the older actress. Um, I mean, they're all kind of pretty stereotypical characters, I would say. The director, the sleazy director, uh, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
let's see. I mean, but I guess it kind of makes sense that they would be so because they are um, basically representing some kind of role in different movies, essentially, or rather the same role in different movies, in different films. So
yeah.
yeah, so let's have a look at that anime snob's review. He has given it an 8.16. I don't know if I would rate it that highly, but you
Yeah,
would,
I don't. Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't either.
Mm. Because
Not
it's
quite that high.
yeah, it felt maybe because I when I watched this, I speeded it up to make it in time for the discussion today. But even without that, uh, the movie is just 1 hour and 20 minutes, and most of it is basically spent looking at the protagonist literally running and chasing basically her love or whatever.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think they did a good job of making her seem pretty like a classy lady, if you get what I mean. Like
yeah,
yeah. Um, so yeah, but there wasn't much time for anything else. Like I mean, at the end of the day, like it's just a gimmick. The fact that like it's all in her head that what we are seeing is basically her memories about her life, and the movies mixed up.
yeah,
It's a nice gimmick, but it's still a
yeah,
gimmick. Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything much else. It's just an excuse.
yeah.
It's an excuse to have to show us a bunch of. Like yesterday, I was talking about Lucky Star. So how they made a bunch of references to a lot of stuff to celebrate it essentially. And it's the same thing here. They're celebrating different genres of Japanese cinema essentially. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, yes, agree. Yeah. It's a fairly simple story at heart. It's well done. It's a well crafted movie. The presentation is great. There's not much. There's not that much. You know, creative expand like depth to the plot really. Once you figure out the gimmick, but it's still very well done as a product. As a film. So it's not that deep. Like I think the weakest parts of the show were really the plot and the character, like the side characters, being there really was only one that the whole film was based around, focused on, that being Chioko, the actress. But her part was done well. The story it was trying to tell was done well. With that, with Chioko, the actress, blending her film, her career, with her personal experiences and her life, her entire life throughout that, from the 1920s up until the Millennium 2000. But beyond that, it's not that. Mm, it doesn't it doesn't really dive too deep into anything else. There's a lot you could say is missing from it if you want more substance from your anime and from films. But it's very aesthetically pleasing, and what it focuses on, it does well.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
have
think.
something like a greater message or something. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's have a look at Snob's review. So let's see. I think he wrote this back in 2012. Oh, so I wonder whether he would still rate it as highly. Then again, Snob doesn't change, so he probably would.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, he did change his mind about Ergo Proxy, if you remember that. Um,
He did. See, I still love that. I still love Ergo Proxy. I will fight him on that, but maybe he'll change my mind. I don't know.
so, yeah. Yeah, maybe I should try inviting him to talk about Ergo Proxy. To drum some old
Yeah,
drama. He'll probably say no anyway. So let's read his
yeah.
review. So another one of those great films, just for being animated by the king of anime, Studio Madhouse. I didn't know it was Studio Madhouse. Did you know? Did you know? Um, I
Uh, that's what I thought it was. Is it not?
It is. It is. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what made you think it was Studio Madhouse? Did you already know, or like could you recognize
I
it?
yeah, yeah. When I added it to my list, I looked at the studio,
I see.
and it was Madhouse.
I can't be bothered to add stuff to my list. Okay. So it was directed by the now late Satoshi Kon. Yeah, it was already dead. I can't remember when this film came out. Can you remember?
I'd have to look at the Mal or my list, but I think it was 2001. Was it? I'm
Uh,
guessing. And let me
let's.
look because yeah, let me make sure.
It doesn't look that
Uh,
bad for an anime which came out in 2001. It looks. I thought,
yeah,
yeah, it looks pretty good. Um,
yes, 2001. And yes, I agree. It looks very good. It still didn't look that old, but this is the kind of style I love in animation. It's, dark and texture. There's the drawing, the animation has texture to it. The heavy use of shadows. It's not just a flat color palette, with like a sheen, with a shine that you see all the time now these days. You see a lot of lazy coloring these days, in my opinion. But it's very textury. The animation has texture to it that you would expect from a 90s or early to mid 2000s anime, and that's probably my favorite look really in anime.
yeah, for some
I
reason,
love that.
yeah, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look dated at all. Yeah, for example, if you compare it to something which came just a few years earlier, like
Yeah.
Evangelion, for instance. Yeah, but yeah,
Mhm.
I guess
Mhm.
it's different because that's a TV series and this is a movie. Um,
Yeah.
so the whole plot is basically the heroine describing her life through movies. Yeah, the whole movie is about her. So there is practically only one character in here. So yeah, I guess he agrees with us.
Hmm.
Since she married her role as an actress and got isolated from the rest of the world for decades, I'll share the I'll share the screen, and I'll also post the review in the recording channel, so you can have a look at that. Um,
All right.
if if you can't understand what I'm saying.
I have the review open now on my phone.
Nice, nice. So let's go and change the screen. Yep. So now everybody should be seeing what I see on the screen. Well, there's nobody watching, but somebody watches this later. So the whole plot is basically, well, okay. Since she married her role as an actress and got isolated from the rest of the world for decades while getting crazy on an unfulfilled love, the narration tends to blur reality with fantasy. Yeah, this is the usual trademark of Satoshi, who loves to make his works to feel like a hallucination that is meant to criticize the modern way of life. In this case, he shows how love can twist one's mind to the point um, she seeks refuge in entertainment. I don't know. I didn't feel like the movie was criticizing the protagonist for being the way that she is at all. It just
Hmm.
it just seemed to say or you might think that she's just a crazy lady or something, but look at all the things she achieved, like on the way with her crazy obsession, I guess. Um,
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
uh,
Yeah. See, I don't know. Really escaping to entertainment. I guess you could maybe see that, but really, I think she's using her film career, all the movies she was in, all the time she lived through to just tell her story about her unfulfilled love, you know, chasing, always chasing after that dream of the prince that she never finds. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a particular criticism of like that, that industry or film industry or actresses or escapism. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Hmm.
if there was any criticism, I kind of felt, or rather, any criticism against modern society, I think it was more about I mean, it wasn't really about modern society in general, but about how look, the studio and everything she worked for, like basically like she's been forgotten by the younger generation, I guess, younger people like the cameraman, and the studio that she worked at is also getting destroyed. So
Hmm.
look, she used to be this big deal, but the modern way of things is that, but it's not just the modern way of things. It's just that as time passes, everything is forgotten. But I guess it's you know
Yeah.
even famous actresses. Um, so in the case of the old actress, she escapes to her own movies, which tends to have a double irony, as they were normally made for her fans. Did you feel that? Did you feel like it? There was some kind of irony there. Did you feel that irony? Uh, uh,
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know if that's the intent. As far as I'm concerned, the intent of the whole film wasn't really a criticism. It was just more a display, a retelling of this old actress's life, and sort of a creative interpretation of it. Um, but an irony there, I mean, I guess there could be. I just don't know if that's really the intent. I think that's just part of the creative soil it's drawing from in order to tell the story. I don't know. I'd have to think a lot more about it, but I don't know if I really think the whole point of this film was really to be a critique of much of anything or to be ironic really.
Yeah, if
Um,
anything, it felt more like a celebration. So I guess
yeah, yeah,
irony is talking here. So he's talking about the irony of that she's escaping into the movies, which were made for her audience to escape, her fans to escape to. So I guess her fans in this film would be obviously the interviewer, Seiya or something. Who I mean, but it's not really shown as something harmful, let us say that she didn't escape into her movies. How would that change anything, right, for the better, rather, let us say that Seiya didn't care about the films. If anything, like the guy who is shown in a negative light, it's the cameraman, isn't he? Isn't it? It's he's shown to be like, oh, look at this cynical guy who can't see the beauty in these movies,
yeah,
and can only see this this cynical guy can only see this old lady being insane, and his boss, the interviewer, because kind of looks like that, his boss or coworker, um, playing into like her deranged fantasy. um,
yeah, yeah. There's sort of a dynamic there between someone who's not invested in this actress or her films at all, and someone who followed her whole career and really cares about her. Probably more than just as an actress. Like he cares about her on a personal level,
yes.
and yeah, and the actress herself, the other dynamic. You sort of get these three different ways to look at the whole film or the whole situation. Um, the actress perspective telling her story. The what is was it Genyu or Genju or something? Genji.
Let me have a
the
look at the name
the
of the characters. I can't. There's only two or three of them, but I can't remember them.
Yeah, I watched this yesterday and I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I watched.
That's
Yeah,
you. That's normal. Genya, yes, it was Genya. He's the main guy interested in doing the documentary. But yeah, you get actress's perspective telling her life. You get Genyu's the journalist interviewing the actress who really cares about her and was invested through her whole career. Like you could say he's a fan of the actress. And then you have, like you said, the cameraman who's just there doing his job and not really enthused about the whole situation because he doesn't know about the films or the actors. He doesn't really care.
so I'm looking at the my anime list, and I guess there's a few characters who don't even are not even given a name, like the man of the key. So the stranger is just called
Yeah.
man of the key, um,
Yeah.
and the man with the scar, the policeman, is just called Scarface. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
cameraman, by the way, was called Ida. I can't even remember whether
Um,
they said his name. And for some reason, the old lady, or rather the ghost, she has a name, Ayakashi. Maybe she's supposed to be. I don't know. I don't know. Let's say in the details, it just says an apparition who tricks Chiyoko into accepting a curse. Yeah, yeah.
mhm.
Doesn't say much more than that. So let's go back to the review. Okay. Also, Satoshi is decent enough to not sexualize his characters. Plus, all the action scenes are meant to be allegorical instead of brain dead explosions and killings. I mean, mm, I guess that all the action scenes are supposed to like have a double meaning. In this case, uh, if that is what he means by allegorical. So as for the fact that I guess it's a good thing that they're not sexualized because they're trying to make her appear as a classy actress as opposed to something else. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, the action scenes are meant to be allegorical instead of brain-dead explosions and killings. I mean, there's a lot of style too. Like um, it's not like everything has a meaning or something. I mean, I guess it does in the sense that the major theme of um, her getting lost in her movies. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah, it's not really like a downer of a movie. Like it's mostly positive about the whole thing. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, do you have any?
at least.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Mm. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say yes. I think it's just a very creative interpretation of an actress who never really was fulfilled, had never really had her dream fulfilled, which was to find her prince. But the chase after that prince is what kept her going and made her such a great actor.
Nice.
And it's not really it's just more of a portrayal of that creative display of that than anything else really. I don't yeah
Yeah, I mean,
um yeah
so
that's what I think.
yeah. So at the same time, the actress almost deliberately tries to make her own past to sound so exciting, just because she doesn't want to admit how dull and fruitless it was in her personal happiness. Snob has been a bit harsh here, isn't he? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I can follow that train of thought. Yes, I know where he's coming from because that draws on about what I just said earlier about having her unfulfilled romance. But that's a bit harsh. Yes. Yeah, I think that's a bit harsh.
yeah, because I don't think the film is showing how her life was quote unquote dull and fruitless. Um, if anything, all of her roles are shown to be exciting, and I mean, you can say that they're sad or something like that, that she's not happy, but I wouldn't call it dull and fruitless. A dull or rather a dull and fruitless portrayal. But I guess what Snob is saying is that that's just in her head, but in reality, it was dull or something like that. Um, um,
Yeah, yeah, I guess fruitless for her in terms of fulfilling her dream. With the key and finding her prince that she was chasing after for the whole film that she would never get. Yeah, in that sense. But really, I don't know. I don't know if that's a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't go that far to say what he said here. Snob said here. It's a bit harsh.
so again, he goes on to say, and thus even the simplest event of her daily life ends up being mixed with samurai sagas, space adventures, and war dramas, just for the sake of entertaining the audience. I mean, if you take out the I guess the pretty colors, which would be the samurai sagas, space adventures, and war dramas. I mean, it's still not a boring life. I mean, um, it still looks pretty entertaining. I mean, um, the fact that uh, she met this guy who was a revolutionary or something, a rebel, and um, went to Manchuria during the war um,
Yeah.
to make a movie. Was deceived by a fortune teller. But yeah, again, some of the things like did the thing with the fortune teller actually happen?
Uh,
Yeah, I think what Snob is taking from here is that he's saying here is that a lot of it is fake or something maybe. Um,
dramatic. It's an overly dramatic retelling of her simple past. You know, the simple fact that she wasn't fulfilled. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I would defend all of it. All this blending of her films to make her past seem more interesting, and retelling of her life and mixing it with her work as an actress. I think that's it's sort of a style. It is sort of an aesthetic. It's a style. But that's how the show delivers itself. That's its presentation, and I
Yeah,
like it. I defend it.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, the first time I watched this film, I kind of had the same reaction which Snob had. I don't know what was different this time, why it was different this time though, but for some reason it was. So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he was at least the first time that I watched it, I was kind of expecting something to happen. Um, like maybe
Yeah.
like something real or other. Like maybe her actually meeting him or something like that. And uh, uh, so maybe or maybe that it could have been like there was a supernatural explanation for like what she was seeing and she wasn't actually insane. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe something like that happened with Snob as well. So let's move on.
Yeah.
So he goes on to say, she has practically turned into a caricature that has ceased to try being happy herself and cares more to make her listeners interested with fiction. Do you agree with that? That she has become a caricature trying to who cares more about making her listeners interested with fiction than being happy herself?
Hmm. I don't know. Yeah, there's you get there. It is shown that she sort of gives up on her quest, her journey to find that stranger, to find that prince, that perfect love interest. That got the whole movie rolling. It's shown that she gives up. What was it like in the '60s or something? When she was in her 40s or something, I think. Sort of 30 years, was it 30 years? I think the show said before the movie starts. The movie starts 30 years after she gave up her dream, chasing her dream, and that's really when her career ended. You know, and sorry, go back to your original question. I'm getting off on a tangent here. I do
No,
that
no,
way too
no. It's
much.
no, no, no.
Um,
That's fine. So yeah, I would agree with that. That she gives up on that. I think the reason which she gives was that well, she realized that she was no longer the little girl,
yes.
the little high school age girl or whatever. But that now she didn't want to see. She didn't want the man she loved supposedly to see her as an old woman. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I guess that's true. But there is sort of a resolution at the end before she dies, that because she realizes that well, yeah, but because it's sort of saying like it was still worth it, I guess. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, the chase. That's yeah. She says she was in love with that man that she always wanted to see her as that beautiful young lady that she never found, the stranger.
yeah,
But in the end she realized she was in love with the chase, that journey, chasing the dream. That kept her acting and ambitious and driven and all that.
it
So
it
yeah,
yeah
there's
it
yeah.
it took 30 years for her to realize it, but she did realize it. Uh,
Yes, yes,
Even if it was just on her deathbed. Still better than not realizing it. Um,
yeah,
so after a point, You are not even aware if what she describes actually happened, or is just complete fabrication just for the sake of dramatization. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I mean that's basically what happens. Yeah, but
yeah, and I
hmm.
think that's the creative point. That's the creative point of the movie. That's the style. You know, that's the director pouring his vision into it. Yeah, I understand that, and I agree with that. But it's not a bad thing in my opinion. I wouldn't critique it for it. I would just accept it as that's the director's style, and I think it's creative and made for an entertaining film.
Yeah, and I also kind of feel like, can you really blame her for like going
Yeah,
insane? Like people go insane when they're old. That happens.
uh-huh.
So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, basically it's that. Yeah, she's a crazy old lady, but there's no guarantee that she wouldn't be a crazy old lady if she hadn't if she had given up on her, or rather if she hadn't tried to chase this eternal love or something. So let's see. Next, Snob says, to be honest, there isn't much of a plot going on in the film, as all the key events are stuff we get in a run of the mill dramatic romance. Um, yeah, I would agree with that. There isn't a lot which happens. It's basically the same thing of her imagining that she almost was able to catch the guy, the stranger, but he has moved on, or something. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Simple. It's a simple story. It's a very simple story, and it's carried by its simple messages, I guess, with the actress or romance and the style, you know. But it really can't be much more than that, given its premise, you know, and that it's a movie.
so he goes on to say, all the flavoring with the movies mixing with real events ends up being hollow entertainment for the sake of not feeling bored. Did you feel okay? I guess. I mean, I guess you could make the point that, for instance, her fan, um, Genya or whatever, is a bit looks a bit pathetic. If you like, um, for caring so much about these movies, which I guess are kind of just hollow entertainment for the sake of not feeling bored.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I could see that, but again, it's just more a style choice. And yeah, you see Genya, the fan, just living vicariously, you know, through this actress in her movie. So he's always chasing after an unfulfillable dream too. You know, he's never gonna wipe up that actress or, you know, be really anything to her in her life other than just one of the stage hands.
yeah,
So yeah, his tragedy kind of parallels the main actresses in that they're never fulfilled, you know.
yeah, but he's not bitter about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, he isn't shown to be bitter. Yeah. Hmm.
so be warned that there is very little going on besides that. There is a major plot twist that comes in the end of the film, though, and it occurs only when the curtains have dropped and the show is now over. A sad epilogue to a heroine that looked for love in the wrong places. So let's go over this sentence first. So there is a major plot twist that comes in the end of the film. What was there a major plot twist at the end? Uh,
I I would imagine what he's mentioning there, what he's alluding to is the fact that the main actress Shioko realizes that she wasn't in love with the stranger that started her out on the journey. She was in love with the chase. That's that would be the twist that I would think of.
I see.
um, that yeah, I wouldn't know. Would you know what he's referring to there?
Yeah, because he describes it as a plot twist. I mean, I guess it is it counts as plot. I guess I have no idea. A sad epilogue to a heroine that looked for love in the wrong places. If we stretch it further, it is also about how we gradually give up on our dreams because of our jobs or the social restraints of the time and place we live in. How much more could a woman do in a post-war Japan? So do you have any reaction to that? Or what Snob said there? Is it about that?
Yeah, I mean that's a stretch. Yeah, he said a stretch, right? I would call that a bit of a stretch too. But I mean, it's a stretch. Yeah, you know. Yes, we're shown early on in the movie how her mother, the main actress's mother, tells her to be a family woman, you know, and make a family at home. But then she goes off and chases her dream of her prince, and in the process gets found by a film director and starts film work, supposedly according to Chiyoko, the actress, all in the hopes of finding her Prince Charming. But she eventually realizes she's never going to find him, and I don't know how much that would relate to that role, that job, her job, you know, her actress job, forcing her to give up on her dreams, even though it's a dream job. You know, I don't know if that is really if it's social if it is social commentary on the fact that work and daily life, you know, sort of forces people to give up on their dreams, then it's a bit of a stretch. But at the same time, you know, I can kind of see it, but it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she became a popular actress. That's more than most people have done. So,
Yeah,
okay. So let's see what he has to say next. Many tend to compare it with his debut work, Perfect Blue, for also dealing with the delusions of an actress. Yeah, I see. So I guess we were not the only ones. Uh,
yeah.
although some parallels can be found, Millennium actress tends to rely too much on elegy of an elderly woman remembering her youth rather than the anxious lifestyles of a young pop star and the perils it may encounter because of fame. Um, yeah, I guess what he's saying is that Perfect Blue is better. Um, because what's an elegy, by the way? Let me have a look. What does
I
elegy?
think it's just an elegy, um, sort of. I don't know. If I try to explain it, I probably sound stupid, but it's elegy, just sort of a synopsis of someone's life, I guess. Let me look, or a
So,
homage, a homage.
hmm, I see. So I guess he doesn't like it because it is a homage, rather than a criticism. Um, let's see. So in English literature, analogy is a poem of serious reflection, usually a lament for the dead. I think this is something else. However, for all its pervasiveness, the elegy remains remarkably ill-defined, sometimes used as a catch-all to denominate texts of a somber, pessimistic tone, sometimes as a marker for textual monumentizing. Yeah, Wikipedia has
Uh,
appeared.
see, yes, see here, an elegy and a eulogy, or an elegy and a eulogy, may be used about writing or speech in remembrance of a person who has passed away. So I guess, yeah, you could say it's sort of an elegy, about this old actress's life.
Yeah, yeah. So what's wrong with that? Why is that worse than Perfect Blue, which is dealing with the anxious lifestyles of a young pop star and the perils it may encounter? I guess if I can get the meaning, it's like he's saying that um, it's not as cynical about because like nobody's like literally trying to kill her or rape her or something because she's a popular actress. And
Yeah,
I guess she has a much easier time being an actress. Like it kind of looks like she's not even trying to be a popular actress, but she's just good. She's just talented and lucky. Whereas the protagonist in Perfect Blue is kind of hopeless. Eh, right?
yeah,
Um, and
yeah. I don't know.
hmm,
I just like I would prefer if I think I'd give both Millennium Actress and Perfect Blue similar scores, but personally, I just enjoy Millennium Actress more. Just as it's still sort of a sad, melancholic, you know, um, a story, but it's not. It's a little more wholesome, It's like you said, an elegy, just a portrayal of, you know, a graceful old woman's life, over dramatization of it, yes, but
yeah.
I still felt pleasant while watching it, and there weren't any super, risque or um controversial things
Yeah, I mean,
like in Perfect
but
Blue.
I mean,
Yeah.
if Snob is saying that like, oh, this is more Millennium Actress is more indulgent, like it's still
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
showing movies to be these grand things, like the beautiful movie sets. Whereas I guess Perfect Blue is like a quote unquote more real. Like look at the dangers that
Yeah.
actresses have to face. But I don't know. Like at the same time, I kind of feel like is that really the case that Perfect Blue is more real? Because like when you think about it, I mean, I'm not saying that Snob is saying that it's more real, but that's one meaning you could take from what he's saying here. Um, but if you even if you take that meaning, it's like I mean, and how often is it that like pop idols get murdered by psychopathic um, because if you remember the plot in Perfect Blue, like it's a psychopath
Yeah.
who fools herself that she is um, the actress or the idol and wants to replace her or something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's not really more realistic. In some ways, I mean, the whole thing about the key and the strange, that's a bit like it's not. I guess it's not implausible, but it's it's like
It,
a movie like event. It's a it's
yeah. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
something out of a movie. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if you take that out and you think, I think it's easier to imagine like um, a popular actress who is no longer popular but has made a lot of movies and maybe yeah, you can imagine that more easily. At least I can.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And yeah, that key, the key and Millennium Actress and the Stranger are really just symbolic. They're more symbolic than anything, just to portray the main actress's, fruitless, unfulfilled search for her prince. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess. Yeah, I guess it's. What they're saying though is that it's not fruitless in the end. But the key. But by the way,
Yes.
did they explain what the hell the key was for? I think it was for that bots. I think that the artist was carrying a small box or something, and that the key was for that. From what I got, um, the box was full of his art utensils. That's what I thought. What did you think the key was for? I mean, literally, I guess.
Yeah, I must have missed it if that was the point. I'm sorry.
Uh, uh, the,
I just sort of lost track of the key throughout the film and stopped caring about it.
I mean,
Uh,
when the stranger gave the key to Chiyoko, he said,
yeah.
it's for the most important thing, yeah. And then Shiyoko asks, um, oh, what's the most important key? And sorry, what's the most important thing? And the man replies, "Can you guess? Can you guess what it's for?" And she glances at a box, a small box, wooden box to his side, which is carrying, and it looked like
Oh, yeah.
it looked like there was paint on
Go
it.
on.
It looked like there was paint on that board. So maybe,
Yeah,
yeah,
if it, yeah, if it was the stranger's box, I guess, with all his painting utensils, because the stranger was a painter. Does that make sense?
yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it really means
Okay.
anything though. It's like it's a plot device. uh,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a symbolic plot device. Yeah.
but I
It's
don't think like
it's
it's an allegory. I guess you could say that it's an allegory, like you said that it's the allegory for the dream that was unfulfilled. But why exactly a
yeah.
key? Why do you think it's specifically a key rather than anything else?
Um, I don't know. It's really just because she got the key when met the stranger, and that started her whole journey throughout film and through her whole life. That gave her the ambition and
Yeah,
the dream, to find a prince and everything. And
yeah, but
so I guess it's just starting. It's
I
just
I guess quote I know Snob is going to hate this, but like symbolically, why did it have to be a key rather than a pendant or a watch or something else? Do you have?
I don't know.
I
I
see.
don't know. It could have really been anything that made sense. And I think a key makes sense, but yeah, it could have been other things.
Yeah, I think it was just like some mystery box nonsense. Like
Really?
keep on watching, so you might be able to find out what the key is for.
Yeah, what the
What will
key
the
is
key open?
for.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, you could take it that way. I don't look at it that way. I always knew it was symbolic of something from the start. I was like, this is something, this is in service of something, some sort of thematic, thematic device in the story. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see how it could be taken that way as sort of, yeah, there's little tricks authors use in works, in movies and books and things, just to really try to hook most of the audience in. And something like that could do it. Yeah, it could very well be mystery bait. But
yeah,
I'm not always not in favor of mystery bait. I think it can be used cleverly and it can be used lazily. There's proper ways to use it. I'm
yeah,
not always against something like that.
yeah. Maybe it was better that they never showed us what it turned out to be in the end, because
Yeah.
if they did show us, then it probably would have been disappointing, essentially. Um,
Yes, 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 yes. Lots of mystery bait end up just being disappointments because they're there to hook, to hook your attention at that time, and they don't really serve much more of a purpose than to hook your attention. But in this case, I think it was good mystery bait because at least they're related to, the whole point of the show, about, like, I guess it could have been anything. You're right. It really could have been anything, but the start, the key, the the key for the purpose, the ambition for the main character Chiyoko to start out on her whole journey, and what she was chasing after that made her such a good actress. But that it was just symbolized with that key. um, yeah, I don't know. It could be anything, but I just think it's mystery bait that's used well, I guess is what I will say. It's mystery bait that's used well, in my opinion.
I see. I
But
see.
I don't know.
Hmm. So
I'm
let's
sure you could find better uses and worse uses.
yeah. So as I mean, it could be something silly. I mean, if you're going to talk about symbolism, you can even say something like a cliche, like oh, it's like the key to her dreams or something. But yeah, that's a bit pretty bad. So as teams go, so um so it's Snob again talking about Millennium Actress. So as teams go, it is a social drama rather than a psychological thriller. This tends to be viewed as inferior to Perfect Blue because an old woman talking about her past is not as exciting as a young pop idol being chased and raped. Yeah, so basically that's what you're saying, or that
Yeah,
um, people tend to look at um, psychological thrillers higher because I guess the stakes are high, right? Um, not
yeah,
you don't really care that much. I mean, you when you watch the film, like she's talking about events in the past, so we know like how it's going to end up, like with her just being an old woman there. Um, yeah, so maybe that's what Snob is saying here.
yeah.
What do you think about that argument that because the stakes are lower, it's worse?
Well, that's probably partly true, and I say partly true because really, what I like to see in in film, in anime, in artistic works is a proper use or an intelligent use, a clever use, a creative use of what it has of stakes. So imagine a proper use of stakes rather than high stakes always being better than low stakes. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a proper way to use low stakes in something like a slice of life like Lucky Star. And I think there's a proper way to use high stakes in something like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Um, is one inherently better than the other? I guess. I guess I would prefer high stakes, but there's still proper ways to use both, and that's something you have to take into consideration, in my opinion. You know,
Oh, I see.
I don't. I don't always focus on such things.
Okay, so he says, "Oh well, it is fine for what it is, as long as you don't think like a horny otaku craving underage girls." Where did that come from? Um, it's
He loves to jab at
yeah.
people who like etchy, fan service. He likes to take jabs at them, and I don't know.
Yeah. So let's see. Um, it still looks gorgeous, has amazing production values for its time, professional directing, and leaves food for the mind without directly bombarding you with morality speeches. Yeah, I also hate morality speeches when the characters start preaching at
Yeah,
you. Um,
yes, I prefer subtlety. Yes.
Although there are many live action films with similar themes and presentation, such as The Adventures of Baron Munchausen and Sunset Boulevard. Do you know what that is? The
I do not know.
let's have a look. No? given that he recommends it as something similar, I guess. Okay, let's have a look. What's it about? Okay, what? Um, can't find it. So cinematically, this was released in 1989. Cinematically notorious 18th century liar Munchausen's tall tales date back to 1911, but received their most spectacular treatment in this film, which followed an elaborate Nazi-era adaptation and Carol. Okay, what's the plot about though? Yeah, it doesn't say what the plot is about.
I think I might have found it. Let me see. Um, Summary: The fantastic tale of a 17th century aristocrat, his talented henchmen, and a little girl in their efforts to save a town from defeat by the Turks. being
What?
swallowed by a giant being swallowed by a giant sea monster, a trip to the moon, a dance with Venus, and an escape from the Grim Reaper are only a few of his improbable adventures.
I see. So
That's yeah.
it's this guy called Baron Munchausen or whatever, who is basically lying about having been on a great adventure or something. I see.
Yes, yes. To save save a town from the Turks and snob his Greek.
I see. Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's funny to me. But yeah. Anyways.
So it still remains a special entry to the anime medium. It's not full of shallow entertainment, but it's meant to tell you to stay true to your feelings and not to try impressing others by turning to a showbiz caricature. Is it trying to say that? To say stay true to your feelings and not to try impressing others by turning to a showbiz caricature. Hello, NPC? Are you there? Am I still there?
I'm sorry I was muted. Yes, and I'm having trouble answering that question because that's to me that's a bit of a stretch, and to explain why I would have to go into extreme detail with the movie, which I'm not sure I'm the best to do that. To stay true to your feelings and not to become sort of a character or like an actor in a film, not to become something you're not. I don't know. If it's trying to tell that, that's that's a bit of a stretch to me. What would you say?
Yeah, I would also agree because I guess it depends what Snob means by this. If he means that you should stay true to yourself because the actress stayed true to herself, and that's shown as a positive thing, then yes. But on the other hand, if he's saying that the movie is saying that you shouldn't or rather that the actress um basically by being in showbiz was trying to impress others or something, and or rather that she became a showbiz caricature, and be careful not to end up like her, then I would disagree. If he's saying that the
Mm-hmm.
film is saying that you shouldn't end up like her. Um, so let's see.
Yeah.
So few anime try to be cathartic without having cop out resolutions to their conflicts, meaning time loops or magical resurrections. And thus, Millennium Actress is a good recommendation if you seek something more mature and meaningful. I would agree with that a lot. The last statement, the fact that there wasn't some surprise happy ending, um,
Mm-hmm.
where everything gets magically resolved. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Uh, yeah. So let's see. Let's have a look at something else. Pretty quick. At my anime list. And maybe so the most negative review with the most which I guess most helpful marked, which was found helpful by 83 people. I'll try. Let's have a look at what they have to say. So,
All right.
Millennium Actress is a film that can easily be called great. It is outwardly audacious and seemingly gorgeous in nature. Okay, yeah. So I guess he's saying it can easily be called great, but it isn't. Let's see how. Though frankly, Millennium Actress comes across as something that would be praised as long as the aesthetics are nice, the plot is convoluted, and that it is directed by Satoshi Kon. As ridiculous as yeah, um, yeah, it's a guy with the picture of an anime girl saying this. As ridiculous as it might sound, this is a genuine this is a genuine statement after coming to a conclusion. The movie's fans are often completely oblivious to any criticisms of any criticisms, and their belief that this movie is a magnum opus will not change due to the mentioned reasons. Of course, about the sad belief, I beg to differ. Okay, let's have a look. The story is quite average. I think we can agree with that. The story is not that great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if I should be
Pretty
honest,
simple.
yeah, pretty simple. If I should be honest, this is the kind of plot that it's simple but well executed. If I
Yes.
Yeah, if I should be honest, this is the kind of plot that I would consider dreary and uninspiring for how frequent it is recycled in Hollywood. Is it frequently recycled in Hollywood? I guess you do.
I
Mm, I guess the message that, like, oh, the chase is what matters, that sort of thing.
yes. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, it could be. To be completely honest with you, I haven't been invested in in Hollywood or Western films since probably 2005. I just stopped caring
yeah,
because
same here.
I just didn't find them entertaining. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The average anime these days is more entertaining. Even the average anime is more entertaining. It's just not special, but it has a heart, and that's what matters. Okay, yeah. It's not special, but it has heart. I can clearly see where they were trying to go with this, and so the intention is clear and rightfully consistent throughout. Unfortunately, this also means the movie is predictable and has virtually nothing to anticipate other than does the actress meet her love? Yeah, was there anything to anticipate? I guess.
Yeah, just that's a fairly accurate statement. Again, I would agree with that for most viewers, but really that like personally I knew that wasn't coming. Like yes, it was predictable, but I knew the whole meeting or love part wasn't going to come, but I was looking forward to how that played out, how it was presented and explained away and what sort of catharsis it would give for that, you know.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, I agree for the
so
most part.
great. So before Dahobit in the chat says, I love this. I love this channel. Well, thank you, before, if that's how you pronounce your name. Um. So let's
All
see.
right.
Yeah, we have a viewer. Oof. So um. So it is kind of dull two sides of a coin, apparently. Nevertheless, it is still a movie that feels complete and satisfying regardless. Also, paying homage to Japanese cinema is no good excuse for an average story, though it's nice and somewhat exciting to feel such radiated, genuine affection of Kon towards the pridefully rich cinema history. Mm, I, I don't know. I don't know enough about Japanese cinema to know whether they actually made any specific references. I don't know. I kind of feel like it would be worse if it turned out that like some of the scenes were like literal references to other other movies. I I kind of like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, it would. In this case, I think references would really take away from that creative, over dramatization of the retelling of this actress's life. I think it would take away from the point of the show. Yeah, and an obvious opposite example would be something like Lucky Star, which we talked about yesterday, which references are much more appropriate, and I think actually help the experience.
You're perfectly
Hmm.
right. So it's not that preferences are bad or good, but this is not like a comedy or something.
Hmm.
And it's also like it's not trying to make you feel. I mean, I guess both Lucky Star and this are both trying to make you feel nostalgic. If you were into these things, but
Hmm.
this is it's trying to make you feel nostalgic in a different way here. I kind of feel um
Hmm.
I don't know how. So it's more like in Lucky Star, it's more like yeah. Do you remember this? It was fun, wasn't it? You also experienced this like
Yes.
as a consumer. Um, Whereas here it's not the consumer's perspective. It's more like the creator's perspective, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I guess they're trying to like make you feel the glamour of like acting and cinema. Whereas there they're not trying to make you feel like the glamour of being an otaku or something, but like how relatable and sometimes wholesome it can be. Um,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so um, the execution, however, is arguably poor. Mhm. Okay, let's see. How is it poor? As thin and uninspiring as the story is, the execution barely does anything to embrace it. Unlike, say, in Tokyo Godfathers, I don't know, I would disagree. I really didn't like Tokyo Godfathers, which is another movie by Satoshi Kon. It's like a
Mm.
Christmas movie, but the problem with that movie is that so it's a Christmas movie, so obviously um, because it is a Christmas movie, it must have like a happy ending. But by the way, when it comes to anime movies, I think the best Christmas movie is Haruhi Suzumiya's the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Do you have any Christmas time movies, NPC? I mean Christmas time anime movies or anime or in general, I guess.
um, I can't think of any. No, I'm not big on holiday films or holidays in the first place, to be completely honest with you. And I haven't seen this disappearance of Haruhi Suzumaya. Oh wait, no, I did, but it's been so long, I've forgotten completely about it. It would have been when it came out, and I just don't remember.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have nothing. Sorry.
I think we'll probably watch it and talk about it for Christmas. I guess. Um, Hopefully.
Yeah, I need to watch it again because I'm sure I'd have a completely different perspective on it, and really, I hardly remember it.
Yeah, it's a pretty slow movie, but so this guy here is mentioned in Tokyo Godfathers in particular. The problem with it, so because it has to have a happy ending, there are like 1,000 different coincidences to get to that happy ending, and I'm like, it just becomes hard to take it seriously. I get it that they're trying to make
Um,
something wholesome, but if every conflict like is like resolved in such a perfect way, yeah, it takes a bit, it takes
yeah,
from the plausibility of it, I guess. Um,
yeah, I can see that. I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen that. I'll have to watch it.
so so let's see. The execution is poor. To be fair, all the direct does for the movie is dragging this non-existent storyline for over an hour and a half. How long is the movie? It's 1 hour and 26 minutes. The version which I watched was 1 hour and 23 minutes. I wonder why that is. Um, do you know?
I think,
Hmm.
yeah, for me it was 1 hour 26 minutes, but the last maybe 3 minutes were credits.
According to Todd Agent, the best Todd Agent is in the live chat, and he's saying that the best Christmas movie is Die Hard. Have you seen it? Uh,
Die Hard. I think I've watched it when I was a kid on TV, but I didn't really care about it. I don't really care about Western film.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Die Hard is an alright Christmas movie. Yeah. And Todd Agent also says Iron Man 3 is a close second. Lol. Was Iron Man 3? I can't remember. I think it was pretty shit if I remember correctly. Iron Man 3. Um,
Iron Man 3. I don't watch cape shit, Thought Agent.
Sorry, Agent. We are babes here. You will have to try harder.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's see. Where was I? Talking about to be okay. I hope that this guy will give some examples. Yeah. And so coming upon the second problem, the expendable, convoluted nature of the narrative. Um, for a story with barely any philosophical weight or plot development, the messy, confusing narrative is just absolutely pretentious. Oh, but it's gorgeous and it merges reality with memories. Well, fair enough. Um,
Yeah, that's fair. It's definitely carried by its style. Yes.
by the way, it's not I who said fair enough, it's him. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I guess. I mean, would you describe
It's yeah.
would you describe this as a rule of cool show? Rule of cool anime, I guess.
No, no, definitely not. So yeah, it's what he said is sort of true in that it's much of the actual film is just presentation. This, but at the same time, it plays that presentation well into sort of what little what little thematic ground there is in the film with the actress, chasing her dreams and having unfulfilled dreams and not finding her prince and all that. It sort of it sort of blends well. It's not great. It's not excellent. It's not perfect. It's not a 10 or a 9 or even an 8 in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's more like a 7, but
yeah,
it's
like
still
seven.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Todd Agent says Weebs dot dot dot. Let's see. Um, yeah, so he's continuing, which begs but this naturally would beg the question: why confusing necessarily? So why do you think the narrative needs to be confusing? If it's not just, why does it need its style? I guess we already answered that, right? So
Yeah,
so
it was never confusing to me. I don't know where this confusing pretentiousness is coming from in this reviewer, although I can see a lot of his points. I just don't see how it's really pretentious or confusing. It's at least in my experience, I sort of knew what was coming and what it was going for from the fucking start. Okay, and it did what it needed to do well enough. It was good. It's not a super ambitious film full of themes and depth, crazy plots, and all that exciting stuff. But what it is, it did well. It
yeah,
stayed in its lane and was very creative for its lane.
yeah. I mean, this guy's calling it simultaneously confusing and too simple and predictable.
Mm.
I guess I guess it's what he's sort of complaining about is that um, he wanted the um, for it to mean something. The fact that I guess that for it to have like a deeper meaning or something, I guess. Let,
Or a better plot,
yeah.
yeah. Less style, I guess more substance than style. Like it has a lot of style. It has a little bit of substance, but what's there is still okay, you know.
So
Yeah.
he goes on to say, while acknowledging, so Torrejon says, by the way, that it's a fine film, a lot of style, but some emotion does come through, and it looks nice, basically. um, so again, I'm reading the review now. So while acknowledging that by the end of the actress's life, she can recall the events so vividly and can't differentiate what's real and what isn't. Yet, for as much as this whole sequence solely focuses on that concept itself, without ever bothering to have a wider or deeper reach, it gives the audience no insights or depth other than the actress's very simplistically discernible state of mind. This would have been so much more thematically powerful if it had included an actual psychological emphasis, and that the acting career emergence didn't just take up the whole second half for nothing. When an idea is so superficially being told so grandiosely, it will inevitably give the impression of being overly self-indulgent. To me, the complexity, or just convoluted, not complex, in this movie has not much depth or thematic ideas. So how do you react to that, NPC?
Mm, yeah, I mean, I don't totally disagree with what he's saying there. To be honest, I just would, at the same time, in defense of the show, say that it's not trying to be those things that he's describing that it's not.
So,
It's
mhm.
yeah, it's not trying to be. I don't know. He's saying it's pretentious because it's a references on style, and really not a whole lot of substance. But I just don't think that wasn't the point of
I,
it to me, and
yeah,
that's not the point of art to me. It's not the point of anime. It's you know
I,
I think he just have different taste than me, really.
I think a lot of people,
And yeah.
I think a lot of people like Satoshi Kon's Perfect Blue, and they kind of wanted this to be a psychological
Hmm.
thriller because here again, she's complain or
Yeah.
he's complaining. I mistakenly said she because it's a female anime character avatar which she has, but let's be honest, it's a guy. And
Yeah.
it's a guy, and so um, uh, what about the point that the acting career emergence in they didn't took up the whole second half for nothing? Um, was it for nothing? I don't think so. So let's move on. It doesn't give, yeah, because
Yeah.
we are just guessing about what he's saying because he doesn't give enough examples. And I thought it would be easy to give examples from this movie because there's not a whole lot of things happening. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, um, I mean it's a simple idea, and but they're also calling it superficial. Uh, I don't know. I wouldn't describe a simple idea to be superficial, or something like that. Um,
Yeah, I guess he's sort of taking that, sort of criticizing the beautiful style and the animation and the over dramatization of the actress's life and how it's told in the film, the presentation, the style. I think he's sort of
would you dis-
criticizing. Yeah,
would you agree
go ahead.
with him when he says that it's overly self indulgent? He claims that it's overly self-indulgent, I guess.
He has to be alluding to the fact that, again, the style and presentation play are such a huge sell and such a huge a major part of the movie that, and there's not a lot of plot below that. He's got to be criticizing that there, and I just don't think that's the point of the film, really. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, that could be a critique, yes, but it wouldn't be mine. It wouldn't be one of mine, really, because I would excuse it.
So he goes on to say that the characters are fine, they are fun, likable enough to lead the audience till the end, but none of them are even remotely profound or memorable. I think the protagonist is memorable, but that's about it. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I would agree that the characters aren't really, as well developed or as appealing as you would expect from, as most people, I guess, would expect from anime, because characters are a huge selling point in anime. If you have shitty characters, especially in a series, then your anime is going to be terrible and no one's going to watch it.
so,
But at the
mm,
same time, yeah, it's the characters aren't really the point of this show. They just, they serve their functions and their basic functions.
so
You're not really supposed to get that invested into them.
so he's going on to describe the script, some of the parts of the script, and the dialogue and the script to be horribly corny, um, and melodramatic as well.
Yeah,
So I guess he's describing the same things which we would describe as wholesome as being
yeah.
corny and melodramatic. Did you feel that?
I could see how they could be taken that way. Yes, but I think that's the point. That's sort of what the author, the creator is intending to do, and I think it blends well with the movie. If the dialogue I felt, at least for the most part, maybe a little of the humor was a little bit, a little bit, maybe a little bit out of place, but other than that, I thought it was fine. I thought everything blended well and fit.
Yeah, same here. I mean, if you're watching anime, like you should be used to melodramatic characters by this point, you know.
Ye- Yeah.
So yeah, the tone is clearly a craft of dexterity by a truly talented director. Knows exactly, Satoshi Kon knows exactly how and when to implement comedic relief or to build up our expectation for an emotional impact. And so, thanks to the tone, the story seems to flow much more seamlessly. Yeah, I think it never got too heavy for me, and I think the comedic aspects, especially involving the cameraman and
Yes.
them two, I think that they did it did help not to make it like too VP or something, you know. Uh,
Yeah. I thought it was all appropriate.
um,
Used fairly well.
yeah. So, nonetheless, taking all that aside, we actually have a fantastic audio visual piece of art. The animation is flawless, and the art is not your typical degenerate garbage. Um, yeah, not trying to sound disrespectful, but it does look mature and visually intriguing. The music is really good and generally well used. I have no major complaint about the production value, and perhaps even more than enthusiastic to praise this truly astounding blah blah blah. That said, this movie, albeit aesthetically merited, is subpar in almost every way. Um, yeah, I think that basically sums it up. So, is there anything else? Um, okay, let's just read the last sentence. Nevertheless, the self-indulgent and bafflingly confusing narrative has made Millennium Actress his weakest work, and I have experienced so far. Mind you, this movie used to hold a 10 on my list for quite some time, so I do understand blah blah. The all the unhinged worshiping. Okay, so he has verily come to the conclusion, blah blah blah, that it's corny, too corny for him. Or like, yeah, he's an adult now. Okay. I don't know. I kind of feel like that sort of cynicism can also be a bit childish. I mean, I kind of get it, like when the characters in Anohana are like fucking crying all the time. Yeah, that's corny and annoying and melodramatic, but it wasn't like
Mm.
that here. I think. Um, as for the claim that this is the worst Satoshi Kon movie, no, I would have to go with Tokyo Godfathers, and Paranoia Agent was not that great either. It felt like a bunch of random thriller ideas which Satoshi Kon had left. So if you don't know, Paranoia Agent is basically uh, the only anime series which Satoshi Kon
Mm.
worked on all of his other stuff, movies, if I'm not mistaken. Have you watched Paranoia Agent?
I have not.
I see. So, how long were we able to manage to talk about this movie? 1 hour and 41 minutes. I think we did pretty well. I mean, the movie's 1 hour and 20 minutes. So,
Yeah.
um, and well, thanks to also to what's his name, Priyachi and that anime snob, I guess. Um, yeah, I guess as for the scores, hmm, this guy gave it a 4. That's too low. That anime snob, it's kind of weird. He gave it an 8, but I think he kind of misunderstood the message of the film because basically Snob has this. He basically has this idea that good fiction is anti-escapist. So I think what happened there with Snob's review is that he tried to interpret this movie Millennium Actress as an anti-escapist movie, but
Mm.
I don't think you can really say that because it's, if anything, you can say it's celebrating escapism. Um, you,
Yeah.
yeah, not.
Yeah. If anything,
Hmm.
and really, I just think it's a portrayal, and you're supposed to make of it what you will. And I guess we are shown that in these two reviews we read.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fairly simple. Yeah, I would say it's simple, but it's decent.
Yeah, I mean, as for that,
It's fairly
yeah,
good.
yeah. As for the accusation that, oh look, it's too melodramatic. I think they were kind of. I think the reason why for that a little bit, you could also say, and I think they were also kind of making fun of the melodramatic stuff with the comic relief. But the reason why it was melodramatic at all, I think, in a sense, was because um, they were kind of harking back to like a time when cinema used to be um, more corny, quote unquote corny. Like well, you do feel that sometimes when you watch old movies, don't you? Like that it's a bit corny.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and I kind of feel like they were going for that because like there are no um, great actresses or actors. I mean, there are good actors and actresses, but who are known for playing some kind of a type of role. You don't see that as much these days. I think. Um,
yeah,
like I don't know. Maybe after the current, maybe there are actors now that people would consider to put in a high regard after they died, but I kind of feel like so this is not only not only an elegy for the character, but also for cinema in general, because it I don't know, cinema kind of feels like it's over and done with. That's it.
Hmm. Well, uh, I mean, yes, because I believe in that law, that good old law of entropy, where as things progress over time, they get more and more catered to, the lowest common denominator and to appeal to the most people. And if you want to do that, which people who want to make money ultimately do, then you're going to have to play by rules, you know. And I guess yeah, that's put sort of a limit on the creative process in general,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also think as like as a medium, like it has basically they have done so many things over time, and also like
Yeah.
back in the past, like the only people would look up to, I guess, pop stars, singers, and before that, movie stars as well.
Hmm.
But now, like, um, there are so many other mediums which people consume. So, like the time for like
Yes.
that you could have like an actor or an actress which would like define an era
Yes.
or something, like it's kind of gone. As, yeah, especially movie actress.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I think with that, do you have any? Yeah, it was mostly me doing the talking. Sorry about it, NPC. So I guess I'll
No,
leave.
I talked plenty this time. More.
Yeah, it is fun when it's just two people like this as well. Um, yeah. Um, uh, uh, because like both of us then have more time to speak essentially. And you can
Yeah. Yeah.
it's because when there's more people speaking, the conversation starts to like float around. And Total Agent in the comment section, or rather the chat, says that we should talk about Dune at some point. Speaking of film nowadays, yeah, I guess he's talking about the new Dune film. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, maybe we could do like we could watch the old and the new film, both of them, and then do a comparison stream. I think that would not be a bad idea. So do you have any final thoughts?
Nope, not that. None really that I haven't already covered. And as I already said, my score is probably around a 7 or a higher 6, like a 6.8 or something. But yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, same here. A higher 6 or a 7. An hour and 20 minutes didn't feel long at all. Plenty of pretty colors if you are into that thing. Yeah, Todd Agent also liked it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, and now get out.